Heck yeah, new year, new show. It's one of a kind with somebody, not my cat here.
Hey, what the hell? We never seen that cat before.
I know. He just completely
Trying
photobombed.
to copy Barbie and Lovey.
That's it, right? He's trying to steal the spotlight razor over here. But hey, who is with us today? Who's with us on January 2nd, 2025?
Is it Fonzie? Is it Fonzie? I love Fonzie.
Hey, Daddy.
Ooh,
hey. Sabu?
It's my boy. It's this guy. Wait,
that guy.
You get the whole arm in there. Whoa, look at that. Are you serious? Whoa.
Look at that. Holy shit, look at that vascularity, Rob.
Someday I'll have to learn how to pose too.
Oh, it's Rob Van Dam.
RVD. I knew it, dude.
You nailed it.
You know why? Because everywhere I go, there I am.
There you are.
Always.
Mm-hmm.
And that's true for you too.
Yeah.
You gotta reverse it. Anywhere you go, there you are.
That's a great point. That's a really solid point. You know, I have one of the RVD Elite figures, the one with the tiger outfit on.
Yep.
And I should try to. They do the elf on the shelf stuff. We got to think of Rob on a doorknob. Rob on a.
That's it's funny you say doorknob because that's what I thought of when I saw two of them yesterday, right? Uh-huh. And then I thought, what would they do with me? Rob on a doorknob, and I just pictured it sitting there. You know,
I'm gonna have to do that.
That's exactly what crossed my mind.
There we go. Well, hey guys, we're live.
Cob of corn, maybe.
Oh, Rob on a cob. I like that one. I think I like that one a lot.
Rob on a cob.
Rob on a cob.
Yeah, maybe. But by the way, though, since it's story time, Garbage Thursday.
Yes.
What we were talking about before, no matter where you go, there you are.
Yes.
I don't know where I first heard that. It must have been 40 years ago, 30 years ago, long time ago. But I know exactly where I heard this one. And it's very similar. But in all reality, like I do use this as a tool sometimes to help me deal with being in a situation that I'm in where I might think that I'd rather be somewhere else or whatever, you know what I mean? Like, so, Comic-Con in Ventura, California.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, Ventura. So it was a fairly small show, and us celebrities had, a lot of time to walk around a little bit and stuff. And I went by and I was just saying hi to a few people. I think Lou Ferrigno was there, my man. I don't know the gentleman's name, but I've worked with him a bunch of times, and he's from Star Trek, and he's an older black dude.
LeVar Burton, is he the Reading Rainbow guy?
Probably. I wouldn't know. I never seen the show, so
he wore the visor, like the.
Well, he didn't have it on, but I think maybe his poster might have. Maybe
that's LeVar Burton. He's like from Reading Rainbow. That's how I knew him, was from Reading.
He's like 10, 15 years older than me, right?
Yeah. He might even be older than that.
Yeah. Okay. So anyway, but he was just standing there, like Fonzie, like older guy, but full of energy, looking chipper and happy. And, some of the people would be like, man, this kind of sucks, huh? I wish I would have known it was going to be slow. You know what the problem is? There's a concert up the street, or there's always, how come, you know what it is, man? It's the rain. People don't want to come out in the rain. But anyway, I walked up, and I just gave him a fist bump or shook his hand or something. And he goes, well, you got to be somewhere. Have I ever told you that?
No, never. I didn't know.
I felt like when I said that, it felt like deja vu. Like I felt like I've told you that before.
No,
I loved that. All of a sudden, I was like, he is absolutely right.
Well, it's so funny because, like, as a kid, like Reading Rainbow is like the fucking hookup. You had Mr. Rogers, and then Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood, and then you had LeVar Burton Reading Rainbow, and it's like, take a look, it's in a book, Reading Rainbow. And he would teach about books and stuff like that. It was great.
And that was besides Star Trek?
That was besides Star Trek. And I would see him on clips, but I've never watched Star Trek before. But I would always, is that the Reading Rainbow guy?
But so I do that sometimes, like I could be stuck where I'm just killing time and I could just be a rock, like over in a corner of a room waiting while everyone else is doing stuff or whatever it is. And it's like, when I think about that, you got to be somewhere. Then I'm like, it's true. We're all just passing time.
Yeah.
And if you're not here, you're going to be somewhere else. Why not here? It kind of makes it all seem equal from a certain perspective.
Heck yeah, it does.
It's not as wasteful.
That's a good way to think about it, too.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. Is he still alive?
Oh, yeah, he's still alive.
Okay, cool.
Yeah,
good. Because I want to tell him that I got that from him and have always used that to help me appreciate when I should be, or when I need a little reminder sometimes to appreciate, you got to be somewhere. And then it's like, damn, I could be in a lot worse places.
Yeah. I'll clip this up and I'll tag them in it.
I'm not burning in flames and no one's poking at me with a pitchfork.
None of that. I wanted to ask you this. This made me think about it. When you're saying like sometimes you're there and you're like, you're just like kind of don't want to interact with people and stuff like that. I always feel like obviously people go to their phones, they go to their phones and look at it. Do you feel weird when you're doing that? Just like surfing on your phone and be like, am I wasting time? Like kind of thing like that. Do you think it's like, or do you think it's just like, that's fine to have? Like having the phone as an element and not being in the moment, it kind of throws me off a little bit. I'm cognizant that I'm doing it, but it's also like, I don't know. I have the phone. I'm going to look at it. I sometimes feel weird. Do you feel weird about doing that sometimes?
No, I don't. Katie will remind me at family functions and stuff. What she say? Low tech, high engagement. I
like that too.
Yeah, and because it does kind of put a privacy wall around you. But for that reason, in public, I love it. Scrolling through, catching up on stuff when I'm at the airport, wasting time. I would hate it if I felt weird doing that. But it does reach a point, just like anything else. For instance, if I'm on Instagram and I'm scrolling through and whatever, eventually, if that's all I'm doing, then I'm going to be like, yeah, I need to, I'm wasting my time. I've looked at this so long. For instance, I look at Instagram before I go to sleep at night. I'm laying in bed and I really want to read my Kindle book.
Yeah.
I want to read the latest mafia novel that I got. And actually, this one is from a cop that worked with the mafia. But anyway, it's new. I always want to, in general, I want to read the newest mafia. That's what I was talking about. But anyway, but first, I'm checking my phone, some messages going through. I'm always on Instagram for a while. Then when I start getting tired, I'm like, damn it, I wasted my time. I know I've only got 15 minutes till I'm going to fall out and I'm too tired to read my book.
Yeah.
That happens.
It does happen. Hey, speaking of mafia, Kyle Z just asked this to you. Hey, Dom, can you ask Rob what he thinks about Anthony Center being released from prison from the DeMeo crew? Are you familiar with him and the DeMeo crew?
Yeah.
Okay. Can you give me some context too, if you know?
Yeah. So the DeMeo crew was from Canarsie in New York, and they were a bunch of really young dudes. And the leader was, a regular age, Roy DeMeo. He liked hanging around like really young dudes, and Joey Testa, Anthony Testa, Anthony Center. Anyway, the DeMeo crew is known as being like one of the most gruesome out of all the mob families or sub families, because they murdered so many people. The book on them is called the Murder Machine, and that's because they had the system down like a machine. There's a corner. There's a building on the corner that's it's now a church. At least last I knew it was, but it used to be the bar that Roy DeMeo owned. The Gemini Lounge. Mm-hmm. And okay, so behind the bar, there's an apartment back there, and that's where he had his creepy cousin Dracula dude living back there. But what they would do when they wanted to wax somebody, they had it like a machine. They would walk person in that door in the back, and when when the person walks into a room, somebody's waiting for him on one side of him. Usually Chris Rosenberg in his underwear, so he doesn't get his clothes bloody. Pops him in the head. On the other side is someone else, Roy DeMeo, who puts a plastic bag over their head and ties it to try to keep the blood, again, keep the mess intact and stuff. And they put him down, stab him in the heart to try to kill the machine, turn it off, quit the blood from pumping, and then they hang him upside down in the bathroom over the bathtub and let all the blood come out, let it congeal and dry out, and then they have a process where they would fucking chop it up and take it to the different places, but a lot of it was right there in the garbage dump, not Flatbush. Anyway, the garbage dump, it was so big, like every day you'd have several feet to bury of garbage. So they would dump bodies in the trash, bury it, the company, the people that work there, will bury the trash every single day. So you'd have to go through layers and layers and layers to find anything. They said no body, no crime. They made that a famous expression. And Anthony Center was one of the worst. He was there for all of it, and they let him go. So you wouldn't think. I don't know how many charges stuck with him as far as murders and stuff, because the claim that's out there loosely is that the whole group could be responsible for 200 murders. Could be a lot of cap, but it's based on a lot, and you go through a lot of them if you read that book, The Murder Machine, which I recommend. It's not new, but I reread it recently, and it's really, really good. And then Roy DeMeo's son also put out a book that was pretty good, that told his perspective when everything was going on. But Roy DeMeo was one of those people that, like, at home, he was just a family dude, loved his family and shit. And then total mass murderer, psycho. There's so many stories. Like when they had the bodies hanging upside down, dripping blood, allegedly they were fucking eating pizza with their fucking dirty while they're waiting for it. Yeah, I mean, that's one of those myths that, but it's something that they talk about. It might be true because it seemed like it. And one guy that's told a lot of stories, he just died recently, but one dude out of all of them ended up flipping. Like, he wasn't like in the tightest of the crews, but he worked with them for Nino Gadji, who was Roy DeMeo's boss. So since he worked for the guy that was above Roy DeMeo, he got away with, standing up to those guys a lot and not kissing their asses. And, they wanted to murder him a few times too. But that guy, he's done a few documentaries that are really good, where he's talking about his experiences. And he was there when they decided Paul Castellano was going to be the new boss. And he was told to shoot everyone that comes out of the house if they don't come up and knock on the door. He stood up there with a rifle waiting. Crazy stuff. I think that Anthony Center getting out of prison is crazy. I mean, I get the compassionate release. I think I get the rhetoric that goes with that, but at the same time, I can't help but think about the victims and the families of the victims that would never, ever get their loved ones back. And a lot of them are, because Anthony Center fucking helped kill them and hide the bodies. So I think that's crazy. I don't know if that's going to set a new standard. I think his partners, I'm not sure how much more time like the Testa, Joey Testa and Anthony Testa. I don't know how much more time they got. I mean, they all had life sentences at one time, but it's kind of crazy. And by the way, I saw that the judge, there's a evil judge that was like putting kids in prison and getting a kickback for it.
Oh, I heard about that. Yes.
Years ago this happened, but he was recently released. And, you know, I heard that. And then when I tried to tell somebody, did you hear about that? They were like, yeah, Biden released him. I don't know if that's the way that it happened, but it seems likely because I know Biden did release a lot of, or commuted or pardoned.
Yeah.
Yeah, pardon me. So, but anyway, like, oh, what a horrible person. Like all those, and that's when I learned that prisons ran for profit based on how full they were and how you could keep them. It was from that whole scandal when we found out about the judge. But yeah, that's the only thing I can say, man, about how I feel about that is I think that's crazy. At the same time, I guess good for him though. I mean, that's got to be amazing for someone to think they're in prison their whole life and then find out, wow, I'm actually going to get out of this and see the fucking real world where, you know, be able to get out in the sun and see people. So, you know, good for him just from that perspective of, you know, the psychopathic serial killer.
Man. So, like, why did they release him? Like, what was...
Look it up.
Okay.
Look it up real quick. Be a producer. Let's see. I believe it was compassionate release.
Really?
They've been talking. Yeah, they've been talking about it for a while. They were talking about it during COVID. You know, they talked about it. All the mobsters, old mobsters, seemed like they were trying to get out during COVID, and some of them did, and some of them died.
Wow.
And some of them, yeah. But yeah, look it up. I think it's just that he's done so much time now. They consider him harmless, and then, you know, I don't know if the prisons are overpopulated or what the deal is, but they at one point try to justify, I guess, what it costs to keep the prisoner around and is it really worth it? And I think that's all part of the compassionate release program, if I'm not mistaken. What do you find?
So I'm looking now. I'm getting info on Joey Testa being
the Anthony Center, yeah.
And yeah. So I'm getting stuff from like March of 2024. So I'm trying. I typed in Anthony Center, but that's all I'm getting is about Joey Testa will be paroled.
Say when?
Let me see here. Maybe I'm trying to. I got this fucking ad on here. Both Testa. Okay, both Testa 69 and Center 68 were paroled after serving a fraction of the life plus 20-year sentences they were handed in 1989. For at least participating in 11 murders, the Fed confirmed. They were known as the Gemini Twins, which I'm sure you knew. And then let me see if they have any other info on it. Joey's had serious medical problems for years, and he's done well in prison, says his attorney. Those things that play into settling a release date. So that's what they say about Testa. I'm looking for what they say about Center, though.
Can you imagine you got a life plus 20 years on top of a life sentence? Like you gotta imagine it probably doesn't get much more hopeless than that, you know?
Yeah.
And boom, miracles happen.
Yeah, what the hell? That's some wild shit right there. Holy smokes. Man, that's like what you described to me. Hanging them up. So that's some Scarface shit right there. More enhanced. They're chopping people up and eating pizza. It's like
Yeah, so Roy DeMeo like worked at he was a butcher.
Mm-hmm.
So like when they Andrew Katz was one of their first guys that they killed a guy and then they took him there, chopped him all up into pieces, smashed his head in the trash compactor at the grocery store there. And like I said, no body, no crime. Is they were good at getting rid of the bodies when they wanted to, you know. But ruthless though. Chris Rosenberg was the buddy with these guys, you know, like he's one of the 4 originals, and it's like man, he made a deal with some is it Colombians or Cubans? I believe it's Colombians, and they flew up, and he's supposed to they're supposed to do an exchange and give him some cocaine, and he took cocaine and just boom, killed him, just so he wouldn't have to pay for it. And then, the one of them, that was the dealer, that was his sister or something that he set up, maybe his wife that he set up there, and I mean, everybody means something to somebody, but when you're really heartless and a sociopath like the DeMeo crew, you don't give a fuck, and he was probably he was probably one of the guys that killed Roy DeMeo, the boss, in the end.
Wow.
Yeah.
Jeez, that's fucking wild. Holy smokes. Mafia stuff is just crazy. It's so wild to think that somebody can, like you're saying, the guy was such a family man outside of it, and then boom, another switch gets turned on. It's just like, that's another different type of human right there.
Yeah, it's weird how they can, like, I don't know if they shut off their feelings or if they don't have any. I think I tend to believe that a lot of their feelings are forced and more than not. But then when it comes to their own family and stuff like that, it seems to be real then. So
it's weird they're able, for some reason they have the mental thing they like, the switch doesn't connect, and it's just like, I don't give a fuck about these people, but of course I love my family. It's like, wow, that's wild.
Yeah.
Well,
question. Appreciate the question, and appreciate talking about it.
Yeah, that's an interesting one. Thanks for bringing that up, Kyle. I'm always intrigued by the mafia stuff.
They were known for stealing cars. That was what the DeMeo crew was really good at. And they were stealing thousands. I can't believe it was like the 70s in New York. I can't believe how many cars they alone stole, but the numbers that were taken like on a weekly basis from like certain neighborhoods in New York. Mm-hmm. It's like you can't even take it personally, It's just like, oh, we got our car stolen. They definitely wouldn't call the cops, you know what I mean? Because because they were all just their own people, and hey, the kids are out they're doing what they're supposed to be doing, robbing and stealing.
Let the boys be boys, huh? Boys be boys. Hey, let's pivot. Crazy too that we transitioned from LeVar Burton reading Rainbow to just murdering people and hanging them over bathtubs. Wowzers. Hey, you're not going to get that anywhere else on a wrestling podcast. Let me tell you that. That's why this show is one of a kind. That's why RVD is one of a kind. Frankie Terrizzo, thank you for the $2. You always ask the good questions. Who's your favorite ECW bigger guy and smaller guy?
Well, I'm gonna probably go with Bam Bigelow for the bigger guy. I had some really good matches with him, and I had really good matches with everybody, but also he was in a special place in front of my eyes because I grew up seeing him, and then to meet him, like, I thought he was really cool, and I respected the guy that I met, so I liked him the best for my ECW big guy. Mm-hmm. And then but I mean, lots of runners up, so I won't have to mention them. But smaller guy, man, that's a toss up between two people. It's hard to make a decision between Little Guido and Spike Dudley.
I know, those are both my favorites. I know. I was a mark for Little Guido, and then we talked about Spike Dudley a couple of weeks ago, and I actually just clipped that up the other day, and that's got a lot of hits. That video, you talking about Spike and everything, and that made the news too. People would say, I saw headlines like, Rob says he beat the shit out of this ECW wrestler. It's Spike.
Yeah. I love them both.
Yeah, they're both great.
Yeah, it's a tie.
And heck, the fact that I was thinking Tracy Smothers did that. He had a piece of chicken sandwich in his sock or something, right?
Yeah. Yeah. The chicken sandwich wrapped in that aluminum foil still from the restaurant in his sock.
That's a true full-blooded Italian right there. It's true.
Yeah, Little Guido's the one that I saw him at the rest area, and he had the bag of donut holes on the urinal. Standing there peeing, and he's like, "Rob, you want a donut?" So I just happened to be next to him. Like, no, I'm gonna pass. Thank you. I thought that was very funny.
That's really funny. All right, let's see here. We just had another super chat pop in here. It is Daniel Robleto, a fellow Italian, it sounds like. He said, thanks for the $5. Can you still wrestle in AEW? Please wrestle Malachi Black. That's a dream match. Malachi Black's awesome.
Yeah, he is. I really like that dude's style and his vibe. I like the way that he stands out as being different. Mm-hmm. You know, I'm a big fan of that. So I don't know. If I didn't know any better, I would think he might have been inspired by RVD at one point. So proud of him without even knowing him. It'd be awesome to work with him. Can I still wrestle in AEW? As far as I know, there's no reason that I know of that I can't. So, you know, if there is a reason, then I don't know about it. You know, I don't know that it would be the best move for me right now. But at the same time, money talks, and that's a great motivator when it comes to going to work. So,
yeah. And the fact is like you're well attuned with everybody, WWE, AEW. So like you're all over the place there, Rob. There's an interesting comment too. I guess this will lead me to something I had on the docket to talk about. So let's get your thoughts on this.
You have a docket?
A docket. I have a docket. Cool. It's just a Google docket. So Chris Jericho was being interviewed, I think, by a New York radio station here. And he happened to was talking about, like, you know, John Cena's going on his retirement tour. This is like in 2025. From what I heard too, is he's working like a full schedule. Like John Cena's not fucking around. So he's doing something. But Jericho was asked about wrestling, just in general, and money when it comes to wrestling. And so he said, when I was 19, I was wrestling, not for the money, because there was no money to be made. I was putting 55 cents of gas in my car because that's all I had. If you do stuff that you love, the money always falls. If you do something for money, it usually never works out the way you want it to. To me, I know when it's time. So he's talking about his own retirement. I'll know when it's time, and we'll go from there. For right now, I'm still enjoying this at the highest of levels, that you can enjoy something. People are like, you still enjoy it? If I didn't enjoy it, I wouldn't do it. There's no way I would do it at this point in time. So I just kind of wanted to get your thoughts on that. Do you kind of agree with Jericho in that assessment that it wasn't about money initially for you, but obviously the money came and showed up, and you put in your dues, and you became a WWE Hall of Famer and all that stuff. But just wanted your thoughts on that kind of quote.
So I've said this many times, but by the way, spark them if you got them. Hey. I'm gonna spark up. Hope that's not a problem for anybody. But so, you know, like when I started out, first 2 years, I was told it doesn't matter what they call you, what happens, you know, what they do with you, just get as much ring time as possible. And so I was an international patriot, a flying tiger, and different versions of my real last name. And when I got named Rob Von Dam, that was just the same shit. I was like, okay, whatever. I don't remember ever hearing anybody say that they thought I resembled the actor. I was a fan of his, but once I got that moniker, it's almost like people instantly started thinking that I was him or his brother or whatever. And anyway, that's what that was about. But always, I was, you want to be a good business man at the same time. I think what works for some people, as far as like, hey, if I wouldn't do it if I didn't enjoy it, or with some other people, maybe they have to do it for the money at this point. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Or it's their job. Hey, you got to be somewhere.
You got to be somewhere.
Do something, and you got to, hey, it's a living, it's a career. It's like do that or something else. I get, what he's saying is good for him. I think that although I'm not a formula kind of guy, I always try to make more and more money once I thought I'd paid enough dues so that I could continue to be increasingly excited about the job, about the compensation, about the life, everything, So I remember getting paid $35 to wrestle at the Sportatorium.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember going up to the Carolinas when I got, like $150. And then, that was like a big deal. I remember going from 200 to 300, like that was a really big raise. And then it's like when you're sending all your things out, your demos in correspondence, and you're trying to get more work, but you don't have a steady deal with somebody yet. Then you're trying to take care of yourself, the best deal that you can, and get the best deal always. But it's ballsy to ask for too much, and you don't want to scare the person off. And if it's so much easier now where I just know where my lines are, like yes, no, makes it really easy now because I'm not out to add all the experience anymore. I'm 54 with the experience of a 200-year-old. It feels like running this planet for these centuries like I do. So I think, like when I got to Sabu, or when I got to ECW, Sabu, who was already there, he stayed on top of me to make sure that I was taken care of increasingly in accordance to my value going up. So he's like, hey, what's Paul paying you? When's the last time he gave you a raise? All right, well, wait about 2 more weeks. Tell him you need another raise. I'm like, really? Because yeah, really. You're getting over here. You're one of the most popular guys here. You need to tell him, tell him you need this much. So at that point in my career, Sabu had that much influence over me. And then, a lot of that stuck, where Sabu would be overly generous once he got it, like pay me, but then he wants to share it with everybody, and I although I consider myself generous, thank God I didn't take after him in that area, as far as like feeling like obligated to spend everything I have on the moment or on everybody here or everyone that helped me get here, so he should have a lot more than he has. He's just always been like so overly generous and selfless. But besides that, that's what he used to always have me do, is say like, boom, I need more money. I'm over. So.
Yeah, that's interesting. And I think too, I wanted to get your thoughts. This kind of charged up in my head when you're talking, was like, when would you say is a good time for like a younger talent to really focus more on the money than trying to?
I don't think you can just relate it to time, because it's got to be related to your value. Mm-hmm. And wrestling is such a weird business. I don't think you can take 10 guys, start them out, and then in 12 months have them all be the exact same value,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Some of them might be a draw. People are going to love seeing them. They're going to buy tickets, buy T-shirts, buy pay-per-views. They're going to be spending money on some of these guys. And then some of the guys if they're just going to be, spot fillers on the card, they're always going to have a hard time trying to get more money because they're so replaceable. Why would you want to pay more money? You don't have to. Just replace it.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the thing too. Is like you have to be aware. That's got to be the tough thing with if you're in the element of competitiveness, but you're also trying to see your value and where you stand at certain points. It's like Sabu was making some good points too. Like a couple weeks, like, hey, ask for a raise because I'm sure your value was going up, and that you stood out so much in comparison to somebody else. Like it's just like to be a cognizant of that while you're in the thick of things, while you're at a young age at that point too, and you're kind of it's just a crazy kind of business to kind of.
I'm really lucky that I had a Sabu and a Sheik to advise me.
Yeah.
So, and usually that's the way it is in the business. Like whoever trained you, like usually that relationship stays long term. And that's your guy. That's you're always going to be your trainer, always going to be the guy that broke you into the business. And then usually you can go to them for advice. They'll go to you for an unlimited amount, endless amount of favors, free appearances and shit.
Yeah. That's it. Cool. No, I thought that's an interesting one. Now that also you're queuing me up for some good ones here, Rob.
Which Jericho knows a lot about making a lot of money, by the way.
Oh yes, he does for sure. Hey, but Devon Dudley actually had an interview. Well, it wasn't an interview; it was a WWE video actually. And he was talking about ECW of 1998, and he brought you and Sabu up. He says, "I think RVD and Sabu were kind of the heart and soul of ECW during that time. They weren't the only ones, but they were kind of in that picture. They were so over in what they did, and being in the ring with them, you knew something was going to be magical, especially if they were in the ring with the Dudleys." And then he followed up about Sabu being a little stiff. I want your take on this, Rob, and see if you agree with Devon on this. He said Sabu was a little stiff. He would land on you or punch the hell out of you. He had this 3-punch combination where he would hit you once, he'd hit you a second time, and apologize before the third punch came because he knew he was going to stiff you, and he didn't do it on purpose. That was just the way it was. Yeah. Is that? Do you know what he's talking about there?
Yeah. That's the best way to throw a punch and make it look good is to throw a good punch. Send it in there. Don't be afraid of tagging the guy because, we were taught that it's worth it. It's better to tag a guy than to miss him. That's not necessarily the same today with the young guys, I guess, but that's the way that it was back then. Like way better to give a guy a bloody mouth than to swing and miss and have him sell it, because each time he did that, that was lowering the value of the whole business in the minds of everyone on the card that was feeding their families from the business, So that's probably changed a little bit. But Sabu throws some nice snug punches. I love it.
Yeah.
Slung it in.
Sabu's great, man. He's great. Okay, we had a super chat here. This is an interesting one because right now, we might be finishing up now. They'll probably done at this point, but I was just on with Kevin Nash and Sean Oliver for the Click This podcast, so they were recording live. But Jamie Joshua, thanks for the $5. He's asked, Dom and Rob, any chance we could someday get the first ever podcast simulcast with One of a Kind and Click This? That'd be great. That'd be pretty cool.
I'm down. I still got to get Kevin to return that favor. I was on his show, and he said he would do mine sometime, but never seems too convenient when it's 5 minutes before the show's about to start, and I'm thinking about things like that.
And you're like, oh, we could get Kevin. Yeah, because Kev goes. Not only did he just have surgery on his bicep, so he's been laid up. He's been kind of a hermit for the most part, but he also goes to his condo. He drives to do the podcast once a week, so he goes out of his way and sets it up there. So, but that'd be awesome. I'm sure we could set it up at some point. Everything and it'd be fucking great. Yeah.
Michigan boys.
A couple of Michigan boys, right?
Yep.
Man. Yep. Can't beat that. What else was it? Oh, yeah, before I forget, I guess this is a big one. Raw going on Netflix. They are ending their cable TV reign for 30 years with W Raw on USA. and they are jumping to Netflix next week. Triple H made an announcement, said, "That is a wrap on 2024. We went all over the globe. We sold out. We set records. We lit the world on fire. I can tell you this, January 6th is right around the corner. Netflix, and you ain't seen nothing yet. Are you ready?" Rob, obviously with Netflix, there's the tie can loosen a little bit if they want to. When it comes to like maybe their time frame of how long they run, how short they decide to go, or maybe even the content that they do. I kind of wanted to get your thoughts on, do you think they should do anything different moving to Netflix when it comes to what they deliver? Should they get a little more edgy? Should they do some other things that maybe they necessarily couldn't get away with on USA Network? Or how do you lay out? Because they're doing great the way they are right now, I think. I don't know if they necessarily need to change, but knowing your perspective and stuff like that, your thoughts.
I think that I like the direction that wrestling has been going as far as like trimming out a lot of the peripheral sideshow stuff that doesn't really like quest the same thirst that wrestling does. And I like the way that they're going back to wrestling, telling the stories with that, giving talented wrestlers a good time to shine, and stick out with other wrestlers. I think as far as edgy goes, you know, when you say that, like I start thinking about back to the HLA days, you know, it's hot lesbian action. You know, I was just like, oh my God, I hated that stuff.
Yeah.
No offense, lesbians. I'm not saying I hate that. I'm just saying.
No, yeah.
but I hated the my TV time and ring time was filled up with that, and it was the fakest part of the show anyway. And for, you know, I just I certainly hope that they don't try anything like that. I don't think that was the proudest moments for the industry. I don't think that that's what we need. Now, if they want to loosen up the restrictions on using adult language, I'm personally okay with that. But then I don't really believe in censoring myself anyway. You know, like we have that talk all the time. You know, it's crazy to me that I can just say, fuck, I'm confused here. And someone could be offended by that, you know. It's, hey. I always say that when I hear somebody say that, hey, nobody's swearing at you. Like that's a really valid argument for a lot of people's values. Those are fighting words. What the fuck are you talking about? I always will have that view. So I'd be fine with them using swear words, cuss words, because to me, that's real life. That's the real world that I live in. And not everybody does. So if they don't want to do that, I'm okay with that too.
Yeah. You know, I think they can find a great balance for that. Pick and choose your moments in the moments when you do swear or use a cuss word, it will mean more too a lot of the times, you know. If you're like saying fuck every other thing, it's like, well, it doesn't pack as much as a punch if like somebody just says it out of nowhere and you're like, holy shit, okay. You know,
that's a good point. But some of us do have loose lips and no filter, and maybe it'd be more relaxing to let people come out of their shells and be them real selves too.
That's a great point too. Like, I'm just using him as an example. I don't know if he swears at all or whatever, but could you imagine if our truth was just dropping F-bombs like every other thing throughout Raw? And he's the one that doesn't, you know, right? Something like that.
I could see it getting over. I could see it being natural for him, but you know, that's just me.
Yeah. So it'll be interesting. I'm excited. Should be. I hope they do take some liberties and have a little bit of fun with it that they wouldn't necessarily get away with it on the everyday television. So be pretty neat. Okay. So this also kind of sets some neat things up. Jerry Lynn happened to do an interview over a week ago with Wrestling Shoot Interviews, and that's the same guy that I don't know the guy's name. I'm sorry, but same guy that hosts with Dutch Mantel and stuff like that. But he happened to talk about kind of what we've talked about before on here when it comes to younger wrestlers, what their thought process is. And you mentioned too how you influenced a lot of the younger talent today, but some of it kind of doesn't translate in the way that you would ultimately want it to, because they kind of see it as almost like a video game where it kind of changes in the structure of how they have matches. But this was Jerry's take, what he was asked about. So I want to get your perspective on this, Rob. Here, I'll play the video.
I've already teed you up for this question because I wanted your response off camera. In early parts of the God's sake. In the early parts of the 2000s, there was a huge spot fest movement that infected the Northeast independents. This led to a lot of botched up video game car crash type matches where the wrestlers seemed like they were just doing choreographed movements rather than just working. Did you ever look at what the kids were doing and say to yourself, this is what I created?
It's, people say that we had a big influence on to what happened, but I didn't mean for it to get to the point where it is, where it doesn't even look like two guys are trying to win a match. It just looks like a choreographed Cirque du Soleil exhibition. And so, because when Rob and I were doing our spots, we were actually trying to hit each other with wrestling moves. Like I would try and, one time he did the splits and I dropped the leg on his head. Well, of course, next time he's going to learn from that. And when I go to drop the leg, he's going to move and sit up, and we go from there. So that's the kind of the story we were telling. But we were trying to hit each other with wrestling moves. Like I would trip him. I'd try and drop an elbow on him. He'd move. He'd do that flip leg drop. I would move. And now we're at the stalemate. But here's the difference too. A lot of the guys, when they do these standoffs or whatever, they're not even at the end of it. They'll turn to the camera or just do a pose or look at the crowd and hold their arms out and do the Stewart and go, look what I can do, and beg for a reaction. At the end of me and Rob's, we're right away going after each other, and now we see we're both standing up and ready. That's the stalemate. Because we were still trying to stay on the offense, but we see the other guy's already ready. Now we're stopped dead in our tracks because we're both there ready. So it looked like we were still trying to go after each other. But you got the stalemate there. Instead of turning into the crowd and holding your arms out and going, look what I can do. Or looking at the hard cam and posing. Or we still made it look like we were trying to win a match. And like I said, we weren't doing... kung fu theater exhibition. We were trying to hit each other with wrestling moves. We weren't doing, I don't even want to say, because I don't want to cut down other people's work. I mean, there's so many talented guys out there who can do stuff I never could do, but you can still make it look like you're trying to win a match.
All right. I thought that was really interesting and really smart on Jerry's part. Wanted to see if you wanted to add any elements to that too.
Yeah, no, I mean, I agree 1,000%, and I feel like a lot of fans also will agree. There's a big difference when it looks like two people are just dancing together, and what me and Jerry did going after each other. And I was trained that way, you know what I mean? Like anytime my opponent was laying on the mat, she could be like, what are you doing? Jump on him, pin him, cover him. You're trying to win, get on him, and like, boom, he takes a bump, cover him, whatever, shoulder tackle, cover him. Like every time he looked vulnerable. So then after a while, instead of just dropping down, that, hey, okay, this time I'm going to kick my feet over and spin and then land on. Okay, this time I'm going to do a moonsault and cover him. Okay, boom. I'm going to do a 360 and then cover him, and you could add that stuff in without having it scripted, without having anybody know what it is, But I always, if I'm going to give you a leg drop, nobody but me has to know if I want to jump up and do a 360 into the leg drop. Nobody has to know but me. And that's the way that I was taught and brought in. And that makes a big difference as opposed to I want to walk on the top rope, hold my hand, make it look as obvious as you possibly fucking can that you're just spotting me, hold my hand, maybe even with both hands, and just walk along with me. Don't pull. don't work, you know, take a break, just spot me so I don't fall and let me walk. I want to walk all the way around the ring and then jump off and kick you. Okay. You can't pull that off and expect people to appreciate it the same way as if, you know, like I'd be like pulling my arm. I'd be like punching their shins, trying to get out of there. You don't stop working. Why would you? But you would, because you never got trained the right way in the first place. The right way, in my opinion. I mean, it almost sounds like, but, you know, also the right way in the traditional manner.
Mm-hmm.
Also, let me say this. When I wrestle, a lot of when I used to wrestle Jerry, you know, I was on the top of the totem pole as far as hierarchy goes, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so, you know, I had a lot of leverage, whatever I wanted. It was like my position to hold, and I wanted to put me and Jerry to the test, to test our limits, you know. And so, even though I was told go out there, have like should be 8 minutes or less, even though I was told that, I wanted to go out there for 30 minutes, and sometimes, you know, like if Jerry would have something to say before the match. Like he felt like he knew something. If something was right, it was right, and I always respected that about him. Like I just said, they weren't trained the right way, and then I said, well, who am I in my head? Who am I to say that? In my opinion, let me just say, I backtracked because, you know, I try to control my ego, but Jerry would know, you know, like for instance, if it was like, hey, do you have a problem, Jerry, if we go out into the crowd? Because I was thinking, you know, boom, 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 but we'd have to boom, boom, boom. And Jerry would be like, if we're going to do that, then let's boom, 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 and boom, boom. And then we have to boom. You get it? And I liked it because it wasn't like he was talking down to me, but he was so sure of himself. And I respected that, you know, because he was like, boom, this is the way. And a lot of times I will wrestle with younger guys and they do the same thing, except they're not making the match better. They're making it, they're compromising it, in my opinion.
Yeah.
For not always, but a lot of times, you know, when I'm saying, you know what, I got this vision, boom, 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 boom. Oh, can I go boom, boom, boom there? You know, and it's like, sometimes it can be.
Yeah. No, I thought that was really smart. And like just thinking about like the moment of stalemate he was describing, it's like that didn't hit my radar just as a fan necessarily, but when he describes it, it's like, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Like a lot of these younger guys, it's like, oh, look at the pageantry we just put up. Look at this performance we just did. Whereas when you guys would do it, yeah, boom, that looked like a stalemate, and then you guys had to reconfigure and fight it out again. It's like,
and we really were competing to try to get to that point first. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like if I just took a snapmare, I was like, no way, I'm gonna turn around. He's already facing me. You know what I mean? I'm like, no way, I'm gonna get him. Gonna be quick and boom. And I really, you know, I was like, I don't want him showing me up. So that's a lot of what's missing too. Is like, you know, the legit competition that people never think about. And by the way, I just want to say shout out to Chris Benoit, Eddie Guerrero, and Dean Malenko for the style that I saw them doing shortly before I wrestled Jerry Lynn. They inspired me in a technical level because I was trying to figure out, you know, is ECW like all about chair swinging freaks and everyone's crazy and bloody, and what are these guys doing here? You know, they're all athletes in great condition, and then when you watch them wrestle, they were there because their wrestling was extremely good, and that was their particular position there. And I got that after watching them, and so I was really inspired and motivated by those guys. And so when I wrestled Jerry Lynn, I feel like, you know, I had some of that energy coming through me.
Yeah, dude. And that, like, you just think about that aspect too, and like you had your own unique style already, but applying that into your repertoire too, it just enhanced it even more. And like definitely adds to what Devon said too about you and Sabu being the heart of it. I think too at that time. I think carrying that along too. That's some great stuff. Hey, this is a good way to segue into an ad, because you know what else is great stuff is Mando. Oh my gosh, Mando. I'm a huge fan of Mando. I like they have some different sense that you have, but it's low key. It's not overpowering. I like the Mount Fuji. Rob, I don't know which one you got, but I got the Mount Fuji, and I like that one a lot. And big fan of that. So it comes with, and you can get a starter pack on us. It comes with a solid stick deodorant, cream tube deodorant, 2 free products to your choice, like mini body wash and deodorant wipes, and free shipping. That's a special offer for listeners. New customers get $5 off a starter pack with our exclusive code. That equates to over 40% off of your starter pack. You just use code RVD at shopmando.com. That's shopmando.com. And you can please support the show. Tell them that me and Rob sent you. Smell fresher, stay drier, and boost your confidence from head to toe with Mando. So they're a great one. Also want to shout out to Get Blitzed. GetBlitzed.com. Go to get-blitz.com. Use promo code RVD, and you can get 15% off. That's Mickey, Ray Sinatra, and Courtney. They're based out of Maryland, but it's THC Get Lit Aid. And it's great stuff. I have blue raspberry in my cabinet. It is very, very effective. It was a big hit at WrestleCon. Devin Dowling, who's a fan of ours, he really praises it very well too. He just got his bottle, and he's a big fan of it. So yes, it's Delta 9, 15% off. Use promo code RVD. Get Blitz Anonade infused THC syrup is 100% legal in all 50 states. If you're watching right now, you can scan that QR code or go to get-blitz.com. Use promo code RVD to get 15% off. And speaking of another way to enjoy this, you can smoke them if you got them. You can also use a little bit of Via. Via I'm a big fan of too. Via Hemp. You can get 15% off. You can use promo code RVD as well on there. Use the link below in our description. But I like the Elevate. I've been using that one. What's the other one I really like? Flow State's my also, that's a CBD one. You can check that out. Use Flow State, and that's CBD. Kind of makes you focus a little bit. But Elevate is THC based. And you can check that out. So use the description. Use the link in our description below. 15% off. Use promo code RVD. Help support the show that way. We got some cool sponsors coming up here for 2025. One final one here before I show Rob this other Jerry Lynn clip. It is DraftKings. So playoffs. We're talking about playoffs. Ooh, I like that. That's a Herm Edwards reference from the New York Jets. You bet we are. No, that's Jim Moore. Never mind. Get in on the action at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sportsbook betting partner of the NFL. Scoring touchdowns is key to winning in the playoffs, and you can score big by betting on them at DraftKings, the number one place to bet touchdowns. Where to place your first bet? Try betting on something simple like a player to score 6 points. Go to the DraftKings Sportsbook app and make your pitch. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code RVD. That's code RVD for new customers. You get $200 in bonus bets instantly when you just bet $5 only on DraftKings Sportsbook. The crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In New York, call 877-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly on behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort in Kansas. 21 plus age and eligibility varies by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see dkng.co/audio. Big fan of DraftKings. I gamble all the time on there. I don't even need the promo code, but you use promo code RVD and it helps you out. So help out the show. Big fan of that. Would love to have them as a continuing sponsor. So cool. All right, Rob. We have a super chat, and we'll close out too with the Jerry Lynn clip I have too.
By the way, I don't watch football. I saw in the chat room that question, and I do not. I'm not a fan, so I get asked all the time, "Who do you like?" Because I'm from Michigan.
Yeah,
you know,
Lions are playing very well this year.
cool.
So, but yes, I love football. My Jets are horrible though; they're an awful team, and so I just live. Rob, it was funny too when we first set up the podcast. You called me, and I was at the Pittsburgh Pirates game, and we were talking about like, yeah, what we might have planned for the podcast and stuff like that. And the funniest thing you said to me was like, well, don't enjoy the game, but just don't base it off of who wins or loses, basically, is what you're telling me. And I was like, like, don't make it contingent on if you enjoy yourself. And I was like, thanks, Rob.
That sounds like solid advice.
That was very solid advice. And I was like, yeah, I'm not going to do that. That's right.
Usually people feel most connected to a team that's from a place that they're from.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yep.
If you ever like really have time to think about that, like why are we so proud of these dudes that we don't know out there and they're fucking filling their cups with sweat from their balls, playing a game, and it's like we feel like we're attached to them because we're from the same part of Earth.
Yeah. Well, that's the funny thing too, is a lot of these athletes that are on your team from your hometown are not actually from your hometown. They get drafted and they play.
That's a good point.
Yeah, right.
But we're brought up to believe that ours is the best, no matter what we're talking about.
Right. Mm-hmm. No you got to root for this because they're based out of where you're from.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. But I mean, ours. If it's ours, our name. What's the best name in the world? Watch everyone scream their own name, right?
Yeah.
No, Rob's way cooler than Brian. Well, Rob, that's stupid. It's like why everybody automatically feels entitled. But I think it's not just ego, but I think it goes all the way back to your survival instinct because part of surviving is that awareness. And so when your ego feels threatened, then it doesn't like that, and it wants to fight and then attack back. And I think like all of that comes into play to make it like a natural fit to just feel like, what's the coolest color in the world? Well, like, I don't think just because such and such is my favorite color, that makes it the coolest color in the world.
Yeah.
But that's me. Most people would shout their color. No, purple is the coolest color in the world. You're stupid. It's just something to think about. Like, it's so natural and it's in all of us. And it's one of those things where if you don't try to reprogram yourself as an adult, then you get caught up into some silly traps like that. Which maybe it's fine if all you do is talk to stupid people. A lot of us, maybe all of us, our social behaviors and patterns are set to coincide and to be able to be compatible with the people that we socialize with. So if you live in Hazelhurst, Georgia, that kind of redneck, simple thinking, you don't ever have to step above that. But just, when you can access people that are on different levels and stuff, you should have a way of knowing. You should almost have a way of knowing, like, don't argue against this person. You don't have that level of intelligence.
Yeah. Broaden your horizons. I always found, like, I grew up in Pennsylvania, middle of nowhere area. And it's just like, if I did not move out of that town and kind of go to Philadelphia and go to Pittsburgh and even just travel around, it's like, I wouldn't have acquired a lot of this stuff that I would. I would have been based in a bubble. You know, and it's just like
You got everyone's banging the same 4 hot girls. You
yeah,
know?
right. Uh-huh.
The small town stuff is crazy.
It is.
It is. Yeah, but also look at the opposite. Just imagine if your job is that you work in a law firm or in court or something where the vernacular that you use throughout the day is like on an upper level, big words, 5-syllable words whenever possible, and arguing on an intelligent and perspective from book text. Like that's. If you're on that all the time, then that's what you're used to, and it's going to be so different than if you're around. Hey, did you hear Sheila got pregnant? Which one of us you think it is?
Yeah, just such a diversion from me, one area to the next. It's wild.
And so like that's why about on the internet, like I hear from them all. You know what I mean? Like on Twitter, YouTube comments.
Oh my gosh, the YouTube comments.
We're open, we're exposed into this big cesspool, if you will, and we're all part of it. But we tend to just like with what appears to be solid masses, we tend to hang around and are attracted to that which has a similar magnetic pull and vibration.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Totally. All right. Okay, so a couple super chats here before I get to the Jerry Lynn clip. This is what Samo Rosgo 2002. Thanks for the $5. He says, "Hey Rob, can you talk about the prank you did for a TV show where a fan let you shower at his home and his wife claimed that you smelled?"
Yeah. Ultimate Revenge. I was on Ultimate Revenge twice. That time was the better show. And Carl Monkey Boy, who's still a good friend of mine now, but I didn't know him then. Carl Mauer, you son of a bitch. No, he's a huge wrestling fan, and his wife wanted to play a joke on him, so she set him up. He would spend money on wrestling tickets to sit WrestleMania, to sit in the front row and then lie to her about the price and stuff. He was so into it, and so that's the story going into it. And the gag was a limo breaks down in front of the dude's house, and driver knocks on the door, gets Carl at the door, and says, "Hey, we don't have any cell phone reception up here. Our limo's broke down. Could my client come in and just use your phone briefly?" And he's really curious, and he's like, "Oh, your client? Who is it?" Sure. I don't know if he told him who I was or what, but I come in, and once I get there, man, I'm going through his refrigerator. I'm like, kick my feet up. They sprayed smelly stuff on my feet, which I don't know if you ever smelled it or not, but I remember that was, they were the prank people. And I end up saying, "Hey, I'm going to call my friend." When I use his phone, I'm like, "Dude, you got to come over here. This house is sick. They got a swimming pool too, man. Yeah, call some girls. We'll have a party." And he was going, No. My wife is going to be home tonight, And I'm like, "Relax, Carl." And I'm just, that was like the whole joke. We end up all jumping in the pool. My friend that I called over was Ryan Seacrest, who was involved in both of the Ultimate Revenge appearances. But Ryan Seacrest comes over. "Hey, what up, brother?" We're in the kitchen, and pretty soon we're all jumping in the pool. And then the wife finally, she comes out there and she's yelling at him, "What's going on here?" and stuff. He's, "Oh my God, I couldn't stop him." And I'm like, "Dude, get rid of her, bro. Who are you gonna have at your party tonight? Her, you get her every day, or RVD, some crap like that, And she ended up pushing me into the pool, And I actually cut my foot on the slide when she did that. It was bleeding. But then I don't know. That was the high. That was the climb. The big peak was her pushing me into the pool, and then maybe when he's freaking out, maybe the joke might have been exposed. Then you're an ultimate revenge. I really can't remember. I just remember reaching up and grabbing his hand to help me out of the pool, but of course I pulled him in.
You pulled him in, yeah.
Yeah, but we became friends, man. He's a great dude, and I just talked to him via text yesterday, so that's awesome. Ultimate Revenge and Carl Mauer and his wife. She ended up passing. That was really sad. I was there at the funeral.
Really?
Yeah. Whenever I hear the song, those little girls, they were like, she had cancer, by the way, and it went right up to her brain real quick, and tumors, and it was so quick. And man, there's something. Usually, I might start crying if I give you the details, but man, they're kids. They had like two or three little girls. I guess there's two, but they're like, we're gonna enjoy Betty's favorite song, and like they're singing. Oh God, I had it in my head. Something I believe. Don't stop believing. Yeah. They were like really sad, and they're like trying to sing the song, and it's supposed to be like a celebration of life, singing her favorite song. But I mean, we're there at a funeral, and what a festive song. And the girls are just like, don't stop believing. Like they were so down. I was like, oh my God, why are they making these girls sing that song while they're thinking about that? It was something that always stuck in my mind. And whenever I hear that song,
man, really? Oh man,
that's heavy.
Yeah.
But that was Betty. She pushed me into the pool. Me and Carl are still good, and he'll enjoy knowing that we talked about his ass.
Is that Rob? Is that I'm just Googling him right now. Is his name Charles Carl Bully?
No.
No, not okay. Okay, so I'm looking at Ultimate Revenge here. It's something else that must have popped up. But
yeah, I was on twice. The other one, oh wait, what was the other one? What was the other one? Because now I got Spy TV. Was I on Spy TV twice, or was I on Ultimate Revenge twice? Spy TV one, and then
Ultimate Revenge is the Ryan Seacrest, because I looked at
that. He was at both of them. So yeah, that would have been so I was on that twice, and then also a game show called Spy TV.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
unknown gems in RVD's vault, but people don't know. People have no idea. People tell me all the time, like, dude, man, you should get into doing movies and stuff, man. And then I'm like, should I tell them if they IMDb me, they're gonna see like dozens of, and then I'm like, nah. Yeah, cool.
Well, guys, too, if you want to help somebody out too, Wendy Holland, we have she's got a GoFundMe going on. Joe Holland's wife, she's battling cancer right now. If you want to help donate and contribute, click on the link below in the YouTube description or on the podcast description. You can contribute and help her out too. She's from how Rob has described her, seems like a great lady and really a good person. So do what you can if you're able to donate, or if you can just share the link, that's great too. So wanted to shout out that. All right. We have a super chat regarding Jerry Lynn, and we have one final clip with Jerry Lynn. So we'll start with the super chat here. Devin Dallin, who's a big fan of ours. Thanks for the $2. He says, "Why didn't Jerry Lynn thrive in WWE?" Rob, what's your perspective on that?
Well, there's only one way to put it. Vince didn't like him.
Yeah.
I tried to show Vince, what me and Jerry were doing. And so we had a match. It was on Heat or Sunday Night Heat, I think it might have been called one time. And we had a match and we did our stuff out there. It was short, and we weren't flying into the crowd and chairs and all that, but we didn't need that anyway. That was just, icing on the cake. So we did our stuff and I liked the match, but that's my understanding. What I was told was that Vince wasn't a Jerry Lynn fan for whatever reason.
Man, yeah, that's a bummer because I liked Jerry a lot even back then. I was a big fan. Like, this is a stupid thing, but like he was on one of the WWE video games early on, like in 2002 and stuff like that. And I got so pumped when Jerry Lynn was on there. I was like, I'm playing as Jerry Lynn. I thought that was sweet.
What did he do in Global? Was he JL then? Or
yeah, I think it was like Mr. JL. I think he was Mr. JL, and I'd never saw any of his matches there, but I know him and Sean Waltman were both on that for sure.
Yeah, and Marcus Bagwell, the handsome stranger.
Oh, that's right. Yeah,
Dale Wilkes, the Patriot.
Oh, how about that? Yeah. Oh, yes. Sudden Chaos called it. SmackDown, just bring it. That was it. That was the game. That was a video game, Jerry. Heck yeah. All right.
Hey.
Yeah.
Oh, ECW's not on that one, right?
No, because he went to you were on there. I think you were on SmackDown just bring it.
Oh.
Yeah, but I don't think the ECW brand was on it. It was
okay.
But there was you guys came in and Jerry was on the game. I think DDP was on the game. So it was like a little bit of the invasion people at that point.
Cool.
Yeah. All right. You talked about having a match with Jerry on Sunday Night Heat. He talked about having a match with you, several matches with you, and he named his favorite match. And Rob, I never saw this match. The way he described it, I thought was awesome, and probably the way he describes it will probably remind you of it. But I thought that was awesome. This is an awesome match. But here's what he told during this interview. And I believe the guy's name interviewing him, by the way, too. Wrestling Shoot Interviews, James Romero, who hosts the Dutch Mantel podcast. So here we go. Mm-hmm. Oh, why is it not playing? Here we go.
So I've already teed you up for this question because I wanted your response off camera. In early parts of the God's sake. In the early...
Wrong one. Here we go.
It was... My favorite match of ours wasn't one of our pay-per-views. It was at a TV taping at the ECW Arena in Philly. And I think it was in around September 18th of 99. And the story was, me and Rob were advertised to wrestle. And they started out the show showing an ambulance pulling away. And they said, I got jumped by the Impact players and they were taking me to the hospital. So the last match of the show, instead of me wrestling Rob, it was Lance. And then, of course, Justin ran in. I think Rhino ran in. And then I ran in to help. And then Johnny Smith came in, and now we were outnumbered. And the heels left me and Rob Lane. And then when the heels left, I was leaving, and Rob grabbed the mic and challenged me. And so I accepted the challenge, and we started wrestling. And that was my favorite match because how we had the fans that night. And the whole first half of the match, it was RVD, RVD. And the first spot of the match was a double down because we already had our asses kicked by the heels. So it was just selling right from the get-go. And we had an impromptu spot, a table spot where we didn't have to move it, touch it, nothing. And so it was a surprise. It came out of the middle of nowhere. So we didn't have to do any rearranging the furniture, nothing. And he just clotheslined me off the apron. I went through that, and they were helping me up and out to the back. And I stopped. I pushed everyone off me, and I turned around and went back to the ring and continued the match. And that's when we had them, and we turned the tide. From that, the last half of the match, it was Jerry. And we had the place, they were blowing the roof off the place. And after one of the kickouts, we were close enough to each other. Rob says, fucking awesome. And I said to Rob, I go, we got him. And that was my favorite match of ours, just how we had the fans that night.
Do you remember that, Rob?
This was one of those matches that I will always never remember it. No, I have no recollection of it.
No, don't you?
I don't.
Sounds great though. The setup of it all, like you guys getting ambushed and beat down, and then like Jerry's leaving. You're like, no, let's have a fucking match. That's great shit right there.
Yeah, I think that a lot of stuff like that was Paul's idea, but yeah, there was also a lot more going on, and causing the cogs to keep spinning than I ever realized, because I never had to stick my head in the office capacity in any way whatsoever.
Yeah, that's awesome though. When he was describing that, I was like, damn, I have to go and see this match. Good shit. Yeah. Cool. All right. Wanted to shout out somebody too in the chat. They happened to mention. Want to make sure I find the right chat here. Where's that? Okay. Yeah. I wanted to shout this person out. Adventures with Stories with F4C. He says, I'm battling stage 4 kidney cancer myself. So prayers out to you, man. And I hope everything goes well for you. And
positive energy coming your way.
Absolutely. All right. We had a super chat also come in here. Samuro again. $5. Thank you. Why you jump off the boat in Three-Headed Shark? That shark gulped you up in one bite, which didn't buy any time for the survivors. So sad to see you die.
You didn't see me die, and you didn't see the shark gulp me up in one bite. That's the kind of shit that you just filled in your head. You filled in the empty spaces. That's just that's one of those things that your brain does.
Wow.
It's like when you're in England. When you're driving around, there's signs for places that are for rent, but instead of rent, they use the word let, right? So the word says to let everywhere, but there's a space, and your brain automatically puts an I in there so that it says toilet every time you see it, but it's not there. And it happens all the time. You see toilet, and you're like, there's no I, that's a space. It's to let. It's kind of like the same thing. So,
going in the spots, you're just telling your own story up there.
I went down. So what happened? I was on the boat. This fucking shark had already bitten my hand off, right? So I was like bleeding pretty bad. It hurt. I did have Tucci Corinne, Coochie or Tucci. I'm fucking her name up. You don't know who I'm talking about?
Is it the Char lady? Char? Hold on. 300 Shark. I'm looking this up.
Yeah. Karuchi. Yeah. Sorry. I been a while since I thought about her name. So I had Karuchi helping me wrap my hand up and shit. And then I was thinking, she's dating Chris Brown. He beat up Rihanna. Fuck, I'm getting out of here. And then I just like rolled down the ladder and said, man, I'd rather take my chances with the shark. And then you saw the fin, and then it went down. And then that's all you saw. I happened to be able to hold my breath for a long time. You might have seen some red come up at the most. You saw nothing more than that. So, as far as evidence goes, and you being a witness, let's stick with what you really saw.
Wow. So, and that's the thing too. You always have to be mindful of this in movies, action movies, horror movies, whatever it is. If you don't see the person die on screen, it doesn't necessarily mean it happened. So,
and if you didn't hear, that was she's dating Chris Brown. He beat up Rihanna. I'm getting out of here. Because I don't know if I said that clear enough or not. But what if I jumped on the shark's back underwater and rode it off into the fucking deeper part of the water so I could kill it?
That's it. All you gotta do is poke it in the eye. That's how you
see that's what this is all about.
Oh, boom. Yeah. Where do you think you do you remember what your name was in that movie, Rob? I have your name.
Stanley?
Yes, it was. Stanley.
Yeah.
How about that?
One thing that was funny about that was, by the way, I had a great time making that movie. I had so much fun with Shark Attack. So much fun. But we I thought of two different things. I'll go with the first thing. The feedback that I got from people that watched it, from so many people, were like, "Dude, I love the socks with the sandals."
That is quite the look. That's funny stuff. I'm looking at the Wikipedia recap on here of the thing.
By the way, I hope I don't get in trouble for showing this, but I have some cards to sign,
Oh, okay.
for the dub from Topps. I guess they're not. They were. It was Panini, and now I guess they're switching from Panini to Topps.
Yeah. There was just a big report and announcement of that, actually.
Okay, yeah. So I'm used to Panini sending me boxes of cards for me to sign. Anyway, I was thinking that I would show some of the new cards that are coming out that they've sent me to sign. And I opened the box right before the show to do that. And I pulled out this one card. It's way too cool.
Seriously?
Too cool to show. So I'm thinking maybe I might get heat for it. Like maybe it's a special surprise thing. I don't know. So I'm going to wait on that one. But what I will show you is this other one, which I have many of these to sign. It's the 2025 Topps Chrome WWE, and they still have like little differences. They have it separated, like this.
Yeah.
And there's going to be a little bit of a variant in each one, so I got to remember which stack I pull it up from. But anyway, then
oh snap!
Yeah. Yeah, so you gotta sign like hundreds of these, and that is something that I do fairly often, and that I'm happy to do because it's pretty cool to have a job writing your name. At least I think so.
Rob's got one of the best signatures in the business. That's for sure.
That's true too.
Good stuff.
I'm an artist in the ring, and I'm an artist writing my name. That's all. Just those two.
That's the thing. And you wear sandals with socks.
Yes. Stanley.
Good old Stanley.
You don't know who Carucci is? What's a man?
I looked her up. Is she the same girl that was in Wayne's World? No. I think I'm on. No.
But she was in a series called Claws that me and Katie liked the first season or two. Then it got a little too ridiculous, but for us, she's a regular in that.
Oh, okay. So she was in she was in Child's Play. She was in Jay and Silent Bob too. Okay, wow. How about that? The Nice Guys. I like that movie. That's a good movie.
With Will, wait, Nice Guys.
Nice Guys with Russell Crowe and Ryan Gosling.
Maybe I don't know that one.
I think it's a Shane Black film. That's a good movie. It's a kind of like a comedy, but it's an action comedy. It's like a neo-noir buddy action comedy. Yeah.
All right.
It's a good one. It only came a year after Three-Headed Shark Attack.
Cool.
Check it out. Okay. You got some movie watching to do. Watch Three-Headed Shark Attack and The Nice Guys. All right. We had another super chat. Then we'll close it on out here. Rob, Mike Sharp. Iron Mike Sharp. Thanks for the $1.99 either way. Who did you like wrestling more out of the Hardy Boys?
Something's supposed to be with blue ink. Now what if I don't put this in the right section? You know what? They're both really cool, but I had a little bit of a better chemistry and thus better outcomes from wrestling with Jeff.
Yeah. I mean, I love Matt too. Matt's like, I'm pretty good friends with Matt and stuff like that. And, but you look at the Invasion match you guys had, and that really defined, that time period and really launched you more so into WWE's world and stuff like that. And yeah, just a lot more memorable stuff when it came to that stuff. So.
Yeah, but I like both of those guys, and I like wrestling both of them too.
Yeah, both great guys. Both great guys for sure.
Yeah,
cool stuff. All right, Rob. You talk about signing stuff. The great signature you have. Anything like that? You have any appearances coming up or anything you want to plug?
Whoa, we're getting around to that again, huh?
Right.
I can tell you to check robvandam.com. I think my webmaster just told me that he just put up a couple of recent flyers that we have. The first one would be WrestleCon Royal Rumble Week. So
yes, sir. January 31st and February 1st, actually, in Indianapolis. If you are headed for the Royal Rumble over there, you can see RVD.
Sweet.
And then March 15th, 2025, you will be in Brentwood, New York. The big event, Excess. Yes, go to bigeventny.com and get your tickets. You can meet RVD on March 15th in Brentwood, New York.
Yeah, big event is a pretty cool event. I understand they moved it from where they usually have it, but it's on my documentary Headstrong. I go to a wrestling convention. That's the big event. It's Bruno Sammartino's last appearance.
Really?
Yeah, and it might be Bobby Heenan's last appearance because he passed away very shortly afterwards. Also, and anyway, you can see it there. So I always think of that, but haven't been there in the last several, and of course that means it's time to bring me in.
Bring him on in. Rob, before I forget too, did you ever interact with Sweet Daddy Siki, who just passed away?
No, I never did.
Okay. He worked a lot in Stampede, and I know he traveled around at certain points and trained Edge and Christian, but I didn't think you probably crossed paths with him, but I just wanted to make sure. But
yeah, I mean, if I met him, it might have just been shaking his hand one time in passing, and I don't think that happened because I don't remember it.
Okay, yeah.
But I was familiar with the name,
Yeah. 91. He lived to be 91. What a run. Holy smokes. Yeah.
That's awesome.
91's
the new 81.
Yep. That's it. All right. As far as any other plugs go, hey, we didn't mention this, but go to rvd420.com. I know Gem the Dawn actually has one of those, the Tiger bong that you can get. Let's see if I can come up pretty quick. So, but check that out. If you want to smoke them, if you got them, like RVD, you can enjoy it in another manner with RVD 420. That's Greek Glass. So be sure to check those out. Go to GreekGlass.com or RVD420.com and get your very own RVD glass. Speaking of, you can also check out 1tsport.com. You see up in the corner up there, there's some RVD merchandise, sweaters and t-shirts and hats. We got a sweet beanie. Let's see if I can pull that up. We got a sweet beanie that you can get now. I'm very pumped about this one. It's like the ECW.
I like the colors, dude.
Yeah, too damn cool. So go to 1tsport.com, collections RVD. Check it out. Get yours today. And finally, Rob, we didn't even mention Only Wrestlers. Got to go to Only Wrestlers. OnlyWrestlers.com up there. Rob, is there any updates? Anything new that you want to talk about when it comes to Only Wrestlers?
No, I mean, no, nothing. Nothing is on mine to share that we haven't talked about before, and it has been a few days since I've even talked to my partners, so I have to catch up with them. I know personally that I'm looking forward to making a new video on my profile. It's a welcome video or whatever. And what else was I looking forward to doing? Adding some videos to my video wall.
Yeah.
And then usually like I'll check in the chat room and see like who's in there or whatever when I get on now to post a few things. But I do have a store open now on my profile, but everything's pretty expensive. Gotta, but it's very limited items because it's just shit that's personally mine. And so action figures, Funko Pops, and then it's the only place in the world where you can get something from RVD actually autographed to you and sent to you, because I don't have a service that does that. But right now, with only wrestlers and the OWA being a priority, like they are, being closer to me than anyone else, except, you know, Katie and Barbie and some people that are real close. But, definitely closer than the outer world. So because of that, I am losing my train of thought. No, because y'all are my real peoples and my priority. You can expect to keep updated there, and I answer all the messages I have that are coming in. So, you know, some of these guys over here, Manny Marijuana, he's there. He brings his jokes over there, you know, and appreciate you, Manny. And some of the guys,
be getting some signed
or girls, yeah, like it's growing. And Ashley BM, what up?
Yeah,
Jem the Don.
Jem the Don. He's gonna see you in Brentwood. It looks like too. He said he's on Long Island. He's definitely hitting up in Brentwood. So all of that.
Sweet, yeah. So that's what I'm going to be doing on my profile, is the stuff that I said. So, not that exciting yet, but maybe it is. It depends. But also, I have a little commercial like scripted that I need to get going. I need an animator. Yeah, do you know an animator?
Like somebody that creates like illustrations and stuff?
Like cartoons, like moving pictures.
I know people that do. I have a buddy named Wes who works on the Click This podcast. He does. If you watch Kevin Nash's intro, he can do stuff like that, which is really neat. I'll send that to you. I'll send you just a clip of his intro, and you can take a look and see if you like it. And if so, I can get you guys connected with one another. Wes is good. He's a good dude.
Cool.
So,
cool, dude.
Cool. This was fun, man. Good to be back. 2025 should be a fun time.
Hey, you want to hear something funny? Even though on the show we always joke and I say, man, can you believe it's trash night again?
Yeah.
I have to take the trash out tonight, or it'll be the third week in a row that I missed it.
Oh my God. Seriously.
Like, my trash is stinking. The thing is full. And I missed the last 2 weeks. Like, it's Friday afternoon when I'm like, oh shit, that's right. Yeah, but what happens usually is I don't know that I'm going to bed. I think I'm just laying down for a minute, and then I just crash, and all my plans are out the window. That happens a couple days a week at least.
You know what we should do is we should have a moment where it's trash night break, and like I can do an ad read, and you go and take out the trash. I do an ad read, you take out the trash in the meantime.
Good idea. Work it in.
Work it in the show.
Yeah, it'll be regular. Okay, cool.
Okay. All right, guys. We'll see you next week on One of a Kind.
Oh, thanks, Van Dam fam.
Thank you.
We didn't do an ideology, but that's cool.
Oh yeah, we'll do that. We can do this. If you guys have suggestions for RVDologies, chime on in the comments. The
guy, you know what? Remember last week, dude said, "Can you do one for New Year's Eve about putting the year behind you and stuff?" That was a question on our last show.
Oh, was it? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, do you want to do it next week, or we can do it now?
Are you still recording it?
I'm still recording. I didn't hit it end.
Let me just attack that real briefly.
Yes, let's do it then. Boom.
So, I'm not a big holiday person. I spent Christmas alone with Barbie and Katie's birthday because she's with family, and New Year's Eve home alone, and it's like I love that. That's my favorite place to be. But when it comes to like New Year's Eve, it's just a man-made system to try to match and measure the cycle of the universe, right? It's not a perfect schedule. It's pretty good for trying to do 365 days, but But we think about it like we made that up. There really a year didn't happen between 3 days ago and now. It was 2024 3 days ago, but it's 2025 now, only because we crossed that imaginary line, which, when you think about it, if it's a cycle, we could move that ring anywhere with with the pattern of the universe. We could move it around. In other words, turn the steering wheel. And if that is our calendar, then guess what? We could make January 1st. We can make it September 1st. Let's go back, I don't know, 4 months, or let's go back. Let's make it June. Let's make it July. And the thing is, every 12 months, we would return to that same kind of a weather, that same kind of light versus dark ratio throughout the day. And that's because the Earth is rotating around the sun. That is why, not because we went from 2024 to 2025. I don't know if that was easy to follow or not, but I guess my point is that we decided that's where the line is. And if you move the whole thing around the wheel halfway, then we would still have 6 months until it's next year. Ooh, and guess what? It wouldn't change a damn thing. The Earth would still rotate around the sun the exact same that it was going to. So really, it's something that we use to keep track. Like I said, to have a schedule, but the whole. And you know what? When is a better time to draw a line? There's already a line draw there. So you know what? I'm going to start working out in 2025. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to start paying more attention to my family in 2025. What's your New Year's resolution? I'm going to eat better. All of that you can do anytime, all the time. And I get it, since we decided that we're crossing this imaginary line at this point of the winter solstice, then yeah, what a great inspiration to start something when you need a reason to have a time. You need a date to start it. Hey, I got these things I want to do. Damn, when should I do it? I know. I'll make them my New Year's resolution. And really, that's for fun, but it's also BS prospectively when you look at the big picture of the Earth traveling around the sun, and how no matter what we want to call each day or whatever, it's not really gonna really matter. What also a great time to put things behind us. Hey, all the shit that happened in 2024, let's put that behind us. Thank God. Let's welcome the new year. This year is going to be better. Again, sounds great. It's for fun. Really, either way, if 3 days ago was 2024 or not, it was just 3 days ago. So if you think of life in a linear path like that, we are continuing to just keep moving forward. And we do use time as measurements. And of course we should. So sometimes that's great to decide, okay, I'm going to do this tomorrow instead of right now. But you could do it right now. All we are is moving through time. All we are is dust in the wind. And so if you got stuff that you want to leave behind, you got to learn how to do it. If you hold resentment, whether it's towards other people or towards yourself, and you really need to let it go, just do it. If you got to pretend that we're entering this whole new group of 12 months and that's what it takes to help get you out of it, then okay. But I would say, from my perspective, that we're always the youngest we're ever going to be. there's never a better time than right now to look at the rest of your life. So good luck. And I hope the next year is great for everybody. Happy fucking New Year. And may all the bad memories be forgot.
Heck yeah. If you happen to murder somebody in cold blood and hang them over a bathtub, just put that in the past. Eat some pizza.
Well, that was years and years and years ago. But yeah, apparently that's what the jail system has done, is put that behind him.
Put it behind it,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
That's old.
11 people he got charged with. You're not going to bring him back.
No,
back by him being in jail.
Mm-hmm. Just have us a little pepperoni. That's all. All right. Hey, we're going to be moving on from this week's episode, and we'll see you guys next week here on One of a Kind with who? It's RVD.
Happy 2025.
Happy 2025, everybody.